Time for the wheelie test. Woohoo! Welcome to Translogic, I'm Jonathon Buckley. With all the electric motorcycles that have been hitting the market lately, it was only a matter of time before somebody built a sweet MX. Well, Alta have not only managed to do just that, but they've also built a supermoto as well. And I, for one, am super happy that they have. So I'm finally sitting on the Alta Redshift MX. Now, what initially enticed me about these motorcycles, the photos on the website. For the very first time I saw what is an electric motorcycle that looks just like its gas-powered counterparts. You know, your Honda CRFs, your KX from Kawasaki, your YZs from Yamaha. The subframe unit on this bike looks unreal. It's one solid plastic piece that will flex when you fall and not just snap or crack the frame, which, you know, is an added benefit to that. I'm fortunate enough to be sitting right here on the factory floor with the man that started it all, Mark Fennickstein. Now, you've been doing this since 2010 with Alta Motors, yeah?
That's right.
Where did the idea come from?
It started with my two co-founders, Derek and Jeff, and the idea that an electric motorcycle could potentially be a faster motorcycle. I don't think we had any idea just how much performance potential there was with electric when we got into it, though.
But you were trying to make essentially a motorbike that was comparable or faster.
Fundamentally, if it wasn't a faster and more fun motorcycle, we didn't think it was something that the market was going to want, and it wasn't actually what we wanted, right? The question that we kept asking ourselves is, are we building something that when we walk into the garage, that's the bike we're going to choose?
One thing you mentioned earlier, which excites me a lot, is maintenance intervals.
The drivetrain on our bikes is essentially zero maintenance. There's an initial break-in oil change, and then you'll never touch the drivetrain again for the life of the bike.
We've got the two models. We've got the MX, it's motocross, and the SM, which is supermoto. Tell us a bit about the motocross.
It has turned out to be a stellar trail bike. We designed it for the motocross track, but the level of control that our drivetrain delivers, and we've put hundreds of hours of work into refining the motor control on this bike, means that even with pretty stiff motocross suspension and a 19-inch wheel, it is off the charts on the trail.
Because I'm not maybe the world's greatest dirt biker, this has been such a forgiving way to get used to being on the dirt again. The Redshift makes trail riding a whole new experience. So what was the thinking when you decided supermoto? Was it just purely so you could have a street legal version?
It was definitely a passion project, but it ends up being by far the fastest and most fun kind of motorcycle in the city. And so we've seen, you know, that market it grew in the 2000s around this race series, and then it sort of died off. Now it's seeing this resurgence again, and we asked ourselves, like, what is keeping this bike from just taking over the world? Because it is the most fun thing you can throw a leg over.
Yep.
And the big barriers are, they're based on these motocross race engines that have a ton of maintenance. Well, hey, we have a bike that has no emissions and no maintenance. We can take a race supermoto and put it on the street every day. There is no better urban bike out there.
Oh, here we go. First time out on the Redshift SM. Man, I could actually end up getting in trouble with this thing. So, the SM stands for supermoto, and a supermoto is actually exactly the same bike, essentially, as the Redshift MX. The only difference is smaller wheels, street tires, maybe the suspension's been tweaked a little bit and the brakes, and then lights and indicators added. It's only really got an extra 20 pounds of weight, so that brings it in at 270 pounds. Now, I know the guys have said that with the MX and the SM that they're targeting the 250 dirt bike market or the 250cc supermoto market. To be honest with you, this feels like more than that. It's quite powerful and it's really, really fun. Obviously, you've got performance maps in there. You've got 4 of them. Was it hard to incorporate that into the bike?
People think with electric, this stuff is really easy and you can just turn dials up and down. But to actually get to a map that delivers that riding experience, we're working 12 different variables.
Time for the wheelie test. Whoa! Yep. Certainly does wheelies, and that's only in number 1, which I guess is the gentlest application of the throttle because it's got different riding maps. So map 1 is the gentlest all the way through to 4, which is more. Now, the guys have told me that for where we're riding today, it's very, very gravelly, really, really soft, not kind of ideal conditions. And they've told me that it's best that I keep it in map number 1, which again is the gentlest. Now, normally when I hop onto anything really, I'm a bit of an idiot. I'll always throw it in race mode. I've always found these driving modes to be, in a lot of cases, a little bit gimmicky. That being said, having put it into mode number 1 on this track that we're on today, it's actually making it far easier for me to get around. It's not as abrupt with the throttles, which means I can ride smoother and actually be a little bit quicker as well. It's built right here in California. I notice you have beautiful big factory. You've got 55 employees now. You guys are a serious operation.
Essentially, everything from rear axle to headstock is designed and built by Alta Motors. The only stock components are wheels, brakes, tires, suspension, handlebars, right? The stuff at the ends of the bike. And even that, the suspension, we have done a ton of work to tune it specifically to our bike.
If I'm going to buy one of these bikes, the MX or the SM, how do I go about doing it? Is it an online store? Are they available? Can I come and see you here at the shop?
There's a pretty big backlog of orders right now, so the best thing you can do is place a deposit on our website. It's $100, it's fully refundable if you change your mind, but you want to get your spot in line because the wait list is about 4 or 5 months long.
Well, we've just spent the best part of today riding both the MX and the SM from Alta Motors, and I've got to say I've had just about as much fun as you can have on 2 wheels, and I reckon they might just have a winner on their hands. For Translogic, I'm Jonathon Buckley. We'll catch you next time.